right, everybody. So now we're going to talk to one of my good friends. You might recognize her from. Oh, and her other friend is here as well. Betty Bologna is here, but we're not going to talk to her. So we're going to talk to Alison Bologna. You might recognize her from Channel 10, the Morning Sunrise Show, but we're talking to her about one of her strong passions, Shri Yoga, which is her yoga studio, and she does a lot of good work in the community. So I'd like to introduce her, and Betty Bologna just walked outside with Zach. She has this lovely bows in her hair. Hi!
Hi, hi, stranger.
Good to see you.
Yes, Betty Bologna came because she had to see you, and she just got groomed. So she's
I like those little bows. She said hi, right?
She came to the Sunrise Show the other day. That was interesting.
Yeah. I like that. Good to see you.
You too.
My friend and colleague, and you can just get right over on the little red tape. And you brought with us some Shri bark.
So that's chocolate, yes, because you haven't had your fix of Shri bark.
I know, it's been a while.
I know.
So good to see you.
Yes.
So we're talking a little bit about Shri Yoga. You have the bark. You have a lot of stuff going on. So really, let's talk a little bit about your expanding yoga in schools. So we have a couple of things that we want to talk about. But let's talk about the yoga in schools to start off with.
So I sent you pictures today. That was from Spaziano Elementary School.
Yeah, I have
where
these
we
on my
teach in
phone.
their PE period with a great PE teacher, Rob. And he works with one of our new teachers who also works in the adaptive program. So the school project we teach yoga.
This is great. These pictures are great. We don't have them on the back.
Post them. We work before, during, and after the school day. Providence, Pawtucket, Central Falls. And what's happening in Central Falls right now is we're actually training PE teachers with Blue Cross Blue Shield. And they will be taking our curriculum into the schools on their own time during their PE periods with us. So they kind of model train, and then we mentor them within the school program. So we are in all 6 schools in Central Falls.
That's fantastic.
But the idea is to make it sustainable, so empowering the PE teachers so they can take our curriculum and grow with it. So they'd be partnered up with our current Shri project leaders, but then they'd be able to run it on their own during the school day, which is important. And our adaptive project, for the first time ever, this has been like a dream of mine, was to figure out a way to empower the students themselves. So you came to one of the adaptive classes.
I did.
A couple months ago, right?
Yeah. Oh, it was
Alfred,
great.
Damon, that group. So
I love Alfred.
He still remembers you. He remembers everybody. So adaptive is for adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities. And one of our students there, it's ARC of Blackstone Valley, and they're part of a weaving studio. That's one of their vocational programs. So they come to us every other week. I teach them an adaptive yoga class. But now Damon is in our current 60-hour outreach training, totally sponsored by our nonprofit, so it's free to not just him, but to the organization to which he belongs. And in May, he will be teaching his students opposite of me in the studio. So Damon, who has an intellectual disability, will be trained. He'll have his own keys, and he'll be paid to be teaching in the community for his own students. Yeah, through our nonprofit.
And he's getting paid.
Yeah,
that's
our
fantastic.
nonprofit's going to pay him to teach the class for free to ARC of Blackstone Valley and to the students of Flying Shuttles. Yeah.
So what is that like, Allison? You've worked so hard to get this up off the ground. Yes, I do know what it's like. But to see, and we'll get to the schools in a moment, but to see these people with intellectual and physical disabilities, to see them progress through yoga, and to see them communicating, and to see them getting better, see them getting physically stronger, and now you have someone that will be out there teaching
and mentoring hopefully other teachers who were students in our adaptive program. So I have a younger sister who is a 35-year-old woman, nonverbal, autistic, learning disabled. So I've been exposed to that population my whole life. And I wanted people to understand that these folks are integral to our community and important, and they can be empowering also to work with. So I kind of worked with my own personal experience, found a group of teachers who were like-minded, trained them, and this is what we're doing now to kind of model it for other projects. So that's adaptive. And then we have schools. We work with men and women in recovery twice a week. We work with veterans, active military, and in a bunch of hospitals too. So a lot of the kids we see, for instance, at Bradley Pediatric Hospital, where we teach 8 classes right now a week. Once they're discharged, we also see them in our local schools. So it's this sustainable model of kind of being everywhere. We're going to start hopefully a program in the ACI. I've been teaching in the Rhode Island Training School for a period of time. But in our current outreach training, we have a woman who's a trained therapist, social worker, and yoga teacher. And once she gets through our 60 hours on our curriculum and our best practices, the idea is that with her and another studio, we'll be going into the ACI too. Totally free to the state once I get in touch with AD Wall.
You hear that, guys?
So look, it's a team. There's about 30 of us now, and we have project leaders, and we kind of match teachers after they've been trained with us with the appropriate project for them. So some teachers really love being in the schools. Others like working with adaptive. Some crisscross. So for instance, the woman who runs our recovery project also teaches men and women in the military. So I kind of play matchmaker when it comes to picking not just the teachers and the projects, but also which school or which hospital or which shelter we send them into. So we're serving over 5,000 students a year right now. At least half of them are funded all the way through our own nonprofit organization, which is a testament to our community, because community members come out, they come to yoga-thons, wine tastings, book parties, whatever it might be, and they contribute, and that's what allows us to teach these classes for free to the community.
And really make it possible.
Yeah.
And really, what benefits have you seen? Both, I mean, let's go back to the schools. I mean, these kids have a hard time getting through the day, and
they're stressed out.
What are the benefits of
especially
yoga?
with testing and everything that we've been hearing about? So we measure outcomes before, during, and after our programs. So what we're measuring for is increased flexibility, both physical and emotional, balance, both physical and emotional, and a greater connection to their community, so that when we teach in a PE period, we like to see how they do in the classroom before and after. And we measure that through what the teachers are seeing. The idea is that we're giving them social and emotional learning modalities so that they can cope with stress on a stressful day in a constructive and healthy way. So we do a lot with language, for example. So every class starts, you saw this.
These are books.
And we have bells, and we start with what we call introductions and intentions. Yeah. And we work with 4 values: support, honor, respect, inspire. And we have a theme for the day, so it might be supporting my school today. So I'll say, my name is Alison. I support my school by being kind to my teachers. And we go all the way around the circle so everybody sets up a positive intention. And we're really strict, for lack of a better word, about positive reinforcement with language. The training school is a little tricky on some days, but we've figured out a way to redirect conversations to always enforce what positive language looks like, sounds like, and why language matters.
And that can be tricky when you're working with different types of communities.
Now, how do you do that with a nonverbal student? Which we do. We do it through pictures, we do it through body movement so that we can include them in the group. Sometimes when we have a student who may not want to participate in a particular day, we might ask them if they want to be the leader in the particular class, and suddenly the student who doesn't want to participate does. Yeah. So it's leadership skills too. So we're measuring stress, we're hopefully reducing stress in and out of schools and our other projects, increasing emotional balance, concentration for sure, and then physical well-being. So we want folks, it's not about body size or anything like that. It's more about feeling comfortable and confident in your gifts, whatever they may be, and finding a place in your community. So Alfred, who you met, is a 73-year-old man with an intellectual disability. And when he first started with us over 5 years ago, he could not get off the ground. So we teach in chairs, but at the very end, we bring him into what we call Shavasana, which is just a long, giant, restful pose. It took 3 of us to get him up off the mat. Some of it was strength, some of it was balance, but some of it was just scared. He didn't want to fall, right?
It's scary.
Fair enough.
Especially when you're around other people that you do know, but you don't know, and you're on the spot.
Now he can get up on his own. So he pulls one in, then the other, he rolls onto the side, hand, stands, then he gives you a thumbs up and tells you he can do it. And he doesn't need 24-hour care in his group home anymore, because he has the confidence, he can get in and out of bed on his own, and he feels good about himself because of it. And he's gotten stronger. He even takes his socks off for me now. That was a very big deal. Yesterday I saw his toes. So, it's little steps, but they go a long way. And the teachers who we train and screen are very patient, competent, and compassionate.
And really
low maintenance.
Working with these people in the community, working with all kinds of people and helping them welcome into the community and helping them, like you said, be an integral part of the community
Which is interesting because we started now combining groups. I don't know. Oh, when you came, it was just flying shuttles. But some of the groups we started combining. So, for instance, we have special needs kids from Central Falls High School. They're part of the transition program. Their PE teacher for a while was bringing them into a public housing complex with seniors from Central Falls. So we ran through a whole 8-week session there. Now they come to the studio. So we have the Central Falls High School transition kids. So these are the kids 18 to 21 with special needs.
Okay.
And they're paired up in the studio with a program called Pro Abilities, which is an adult day program for those with intellectual developmental disabilities. So there's 25 plus kids matched with adults. So it's kind of intergenerational now. So the idea is that they are connecting with other people, right? Maybe intellectually they're struggling at the same place or trying to grow from the same place, but we're mixing communities together on purpose. We do that with our seniors. Pawtucket Housing Authority comes with a group called FedCap on Fridays. So we're trying to make it all inclusive. So that's like big picture, is like community, all inclusive. All of us can do this regardless of intellectual capacity, size, shape, socioeconomic background. All of us are the same in that way.
And you're really working hard to continue to feed both intellectual developmental needs and literally feed children. And that's where the Shri bark has come in. So let's get to that as well. Because not only have you worked on yoga, but you've worked on making sure that children have a proper nutrition as well. You've worked on the Shri bark aspect of things. And you have a new one.
Yeah, so my partner Dave cooks. I don't. He cooks. So he was like fooling around with like different recipes. So we came up with this. We kind of just tested it out with students. And then we decided want this to be a great way to build a social enterprise model to help fund our nonprofit so we can go into all these places for free. So we started with original cranberry spice. This is dark chocolate cherry. And then we have another one, toasted coconut caramel. They're sold in some Whole Foods, East Side Marketplace, coffee shops, and portions of the proceeds kick back to our nonprofit, which ends fund classes.
And you make them here, which is nice.
Pawtucket.
Yeah, you make. Sorry.
Yeah.
Here, as in Rhode Island.
Yeah.
But you do everything in Pawtucket.
Yes.
You're very strong.
Everything down to the label is local.
Yeah.
So Heather, who was our first yoga student and now runs Shri with me, this is her art. So you know Samuel Slater, right? So this is Sam, which could be Samuel or Samantha, depending on how you see it, the yoga warrior, right? And he gets dressed up with different flavors. So this is like George Washington. Then my friend Gail, who I serve on a board with locally in Pawtucket, she did the layout. And then we hired a bakery. It's across the street from Hope Artiste. And it's a kosher, nut-free plant. And
so kids with nut allergies.
Everything is totally nut-free. Yeah. So that's how we ended up going to the schools. So long story short is we were doing a yoga and smart snacking program, which Blue Cross Blue Shield funded. The kids started really liking the Shri bark, so we had to figure out a way to make it affordable and get into the schools. So we have now a USDA approved round that goes into the schools and the free breakfast program statewide in the elementary schools, and now we're coming out with a banana bar, which is kind of cool because the kids want a banana. So I'm like, all right, so if we're local, we can do these things, right? So when they say we want banana, Dave tweaks the recipe. It's still oat seed and fruit as the base, and then he works with the bakers. We come up with prototypes. We test it out, and then we do labels. That label has tree pose on it with a girl holding a basket of bananas, and that'll launch in March.
So that comes out in March.
March.
And that's also nationwide. That's also statewide?
Yes, that's going to go into all the schools statewide too. So Sodexo works in Providence, West Warwick, Woonsocket, and then Aramark's in 21 other districts, and we just got picked up with Chartwell's, which is Newport, East Providence, etc. So, and we partner with Khaleesi, I should say, which is the local bread company, and they do our distribution. So it's like uber local.
Everything local.
Yeah.
But you've worked really hard to do as well. You've put a lot of time and effort into making sure that it stays local.
Yeah.
And working in Pawtucket as well.
Yeah.
And so before you go, you have some, Betty's back.
Betty Bologna's back there. She comes to the yoga classes, by the way. She was an adaptive yesterday, which is like a whole other layer of just, you know, having like a trained puppy in the space kind of changes the dynamic, and they love it.
It does.
Yeah.
I mean, and when we had Sue Parker was here from PVD Pups talking about talking about therapy dogs. So I mean, just having that and having people be able to pet and just see a dog and interact. And
so
nice
like what you saw when you come to Shri, it's chairs. People are in jeans and t-shirts. It's not what you would think of, so to speak, of a traditional yoga studio, but I think it's doing the real deal, so to speak. We talk about it being a karma yoga studio, and by that it means it's a studio taking skillful action and making, we hope, the community a better place. So it's not about standing on your head. I mean, if you can, that's fine. But it's much more about how you treat one another and how you take care of yourself and your community. That really is. I wouldn't do it if I didn't believe it, because it's 60 hours of my life a week, probably, with a whole team of really great people. So, all
right, let's talk about you said expansion with Rhode Island College. What's this about?
Yeah, so this just happened. So with Rick, Dr. Valerie Endress, who I known from doing stories with in the community, just approached me and said she was starting a civic engagement class. So this fall we just kind of chatted about what does that look like and how could we be a partner with them. So we're a partner with them with 11 students in our civic engagement class, and they've formed committees. They help us in retail, where they go out to Whole Foods and do demos and speak to our mission to customers. They're helping us refine our surveys and the way we measure impact and outcomes. They're helping with social media. And they are learning about different partners who we may not be serving yet, who they think we'd be a good fit, like the LGBTQ community. We're probably going to start serving different organizations there, in addition to Planned Parenthood. We're going to start with the teacher we just trained. And the students from Rhode Island College are getting like real experience. So they come in on Tuesdays, they meet with Heather and I on the administrative end. They've come to some of our trainings. They've come and seen some of our classes. I did a quick lecture with them, but they're literally going out in the community and doing some of the work, which is a big deal because when you're with a small social enterprise, we can give them those opportunities as opposed to going something that's bigger. I mean, they're doing like real work with us. I'm so impressed with these students. Yeah, they're really great, and they're local kids. Yeah. So the idea is if, we have a real connection with some of them and they stay in Rhode Island, then we might be able to hire them to build our sales team with Shri and to help us on the nonprofit end with fundraising and event planning. I mean, there's so much stuff that we do and can keep doing as we keep growing. So, yeah.
Allison, it's been such a pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Continue the good work within the community. And you do have a fundraiser coming up in April, another big one coming up.
No, not this April.
No,
August.
August.
Okay. We're going to do, actually this isn't public yet, but it is now. We're going to do a Shri summer soiree. It's going to be a big dance party on the floor. We're going to put a dance floor on the lawn of Old Cedar Mill Museum in Pawtucket. And it'll be a fundraiser, but it'll also be like a mission building event. So we have all of our students kind of spread out. I want to get them all in one place. We'll have different people sponsor the groups so that everybody can just kind of dance and have fun together.
And really
let loose.
And see what the mission is about as well. So interactive.
Absolutely.
Great. Thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
for
on. We're
having
going to
me.
take a picture.
Okay.
So we can put this on Facebook.
Okay. I'm still in my morning clothes since 2:30 this morning.
And apparently my
FYI.
timer was on my phone.
Okay.
Great. Thank you so much. Oh,
Thanks for having us.
of course. So keep up with the work. Thank you so much.
Yes.
And
I should mention too, if people want to volunteer, they can.
Okay.
You don't have to be a yoga teacher, but if you want to pop into an after-school program, see what we're doing, get on or off a mat, that's available too. Hi, Betty.
And Betty's calling for you. All right, Alison Bologna
Molly.
with Shri Yoga. If you're interested, we'll have a link on our website as well. You can check them out, and you can find more on